Why is it that those called to a higher purpose often face the darkest, most personal battles behind closed doors? They're the ones we look up to, the spiritual warriors, the voices of wisdom, the ones who seem closest to God. And yet, behind the spotlight, many are secretly drowning in a war against lust. It's the kind of struggle no one dares to speak about. Not in church, not in support groups, not even in prayer requests. It's silent, it's shameful, and yet it's everywhere. But here's what might shock you: this battle isn't a coincidence. It's not weakness, it's warfare. And those who carry a divine calling, they're prime targets. Think about it. King David, the man after God's own heart, was brought to his knees by a moment of lust. Samson, a man blessed with supernatural strength, lost it all because of one woman. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. So why does lust seem to haunt the chosen ones the hardest? Let's unpack this hidden war and reveal the 5 shocking reasons why chosen ones secretly struggle with lust. Reason 1: spiritual sensitivity amplifies temptation. Here's something most people overlook: the more spiritually sensitive you are, the more exposed you become, not just to God's voice, but to the enemy's whispers. Chosen ones often have a heightened awareness. They feel more, they see more, and unfortunately, they're attacked more. Lust isn't just about the body, it's a weapon targeting the soul. The enemy knows he can't take a chosen one down with fear or doubt alone. But lust hits different. It sneaks in, it disguises itself as affection, comfort, intimacy. And before you know it, it becomes a stronghold. When you're spiritually gifted, temptations don't just knock, they break in. Reason 2: isolation creates vulnerability. The path of the chosen is often a lonely one. They're set apart, misunderstood, walk a narrow road, and that isolation, it creates perfect conditions for secret struggles to grow. Without real accountability or deep emotional connection, many chosen ones wrestle in silence. They pray alone, cry alone, fall alone. And the enemy knows this. He doesn't need to destroy them in public. He just needs to wear them down in private. Lust becomes a counterfeit connection, a fake intimacy, a temporary escape that eventually becomes a prison. Reason 3: a higher calling brings heavier attacks. Here's the hard truth: the greater your spiritual assignment, the greater the enemy's agenda against you. People with a high calling carry influence. When they rise, others follow. But if they fall, the damage ripples. Satan doesn't waste time tempting the spiritually lukewarm. He goes after the fire starters, the ones who shake atmospheres, pray boldly, break generational curses. Lust becomes a sniper weapon in this battle. It's quiet, it's quick, and if undetected, it can destroy in seconds what took years to build. Look at leaders who've fallen: pastors, mentors, prophets. It wasn't greed or pride that took them down. It was lust, because lust doesn't shout. It whispers, and it always knocks at the door of those who carry the heaviest mantles. Reason 4: emotional wounds open spiritual doors. Let's get real. Many chosen ones carry deep scars: rejection, abandonment, childhood trauma, failed relationships. These aren't just painful, they're spiritual openings. And if left unhealed, lust walks right through. For someone with emotional wounds, lust doesn't feel like sin, it feels like comfort. A dopamine hit when life feels numb. A moment of validation when the heart feels forgotten. The enemy exploits those moments. He sends temptations wrapped in what looks like love but functions like poison. And because chosen ones often focus more on serving than healing, they bleed silently until their private pain becomes a public failure. Reason 5: great gifting doesn't equal great self-control. Let's be honest, being spiritually gifted doesn't make you immune to human weakness. You can prophesy, preach, lay hands on the sick, and still battle lust at 2 a.m. when no one's watching. That's because gifts are from God, but self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. And fruits don't grow without cultivation. Without consistent discipline, prayer, fasting, renewing the mind, the flesh takes over. The anointing might open doors, but it's character that keeps them open. This is where many chosen ones trip up. They lean on gifting but neglect growth. They shine on stage but stumble in silence. The enemy knows that. He doesn't fear your gift. He fears your discipline. So, what's the way out? If you've made it this far, maybe this message feels personal. Maybe you're one of the chosen ones, secretly struggling. Maybe no one knows. Maybe shame keeps you silent. But hear this, you are not alone, and you are not too far gone. God doesn't shame the wounded, He heals them. But healing takes action. Start by breaking the silence. Find real accountability, not just prayer partners, but people who will ask you hard questions. Start daily discipline. Not just scrolling Bible verses, but truly renewing your mind. Fasting, worship, cutting off triggers. Start inner healing. Get real about the roots of your wounds. Go to therapy if needed. Let God father the parts of your heart still bleeding. The battle is real, but so is victory. Lust isn't the end of your story. It's just a battlefield. And the fact that you're in this fight, it's proof of your purpose. If you were irrelevant, the enemy wouldn't bother. But you're not. You're dangerous. And that's why he's fighting so hard. But here's the good news. You're not fighting alone. Let's talk about it. Has this message spoken to you? Have you ever silently struggled with this battle? Drop a comment below. What part hit you the hardest? What do you think the church or community should do differently to help chosen ones fight this? Your voice might be the one that gives someone else the courage to speak up. Don't let shame win. Let truth speak louder.